There is a moment, and it usually doesn't look dramatic. You're not in a fight. Nothing obvious is happening. You're just tired, emotionally drained, slightly numb, maybe even restless. And without really thinking, you reach for food. Not because you're hungry, but because something inside you is trying to calm down. And then later, the question comes: why did I eat that? Why do I keep doing this? What is wrong with me? And if you grew up in a narcissistic family, I need you to understand something very clearly. This is not lack of discipline. This is regulation. Imagine a child growing up in an environment where emotional safety did not exist, where love was inconsistent, where attention came, but unpredictably, where you had to read moods, anticipate reactions, adjust constantly, where expressing your feelings didn't lead to connection, but to dismissal, criticism, or emotional withdrawal. So the child learns something very important. My feelings are not safe. My needs are too much. I have to manage this on my own. But the body still feels everything. The stress doesn't disappear. It accumulates. From a trauma-informed neuroscience perspective, this is where the pattern begins. Research from the Harvard Center on the Developing Child shows that chronic stress in early relationships fundamentally shapes how the nervous system regulates itself. When a child is repeatedly exposed to emotional unpredictability, the body adapts by activating stress response systems more frequently. Cortisol levels rise. The nervous system shifts into survival mode. And over time, the body learns one primary goal: find relief as quickly as possible. Now here is where it becomes important. Your brain is not designed to tolerate long-term emotional discomfort without regulation. It will find a way to self-regulate. And one of the fastest ways to regulate emotional distress is through food. Research in effective neuroscience and studies referenced by the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, show that highly palatable foods, especially sugar and fat, activate the brain's reward system, increasing dopamine. Dopamine is not just pleasure. It is relief. It is a temporary reduction of stress signals. So your system creates a loop. Stress, eating, relief. And this becomes encoded. In Stanford's interpersonal neurobiology, this is understood as adaptive behavior. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is solving a problem. The problem is emotional overload. The solution becomes consumption. This is why, in a narcissistic family system, overeating is often not about food. It's about survival in an environment where you couldn't express emotions safely, you couldn't rely on consistent support, you had to suppress yourself to maintain connection. So your body found something reliable, something predictable, something that works instantly: food. And this pattern continues into adulthood. Even when you are no longer in that environment, your nervous system still operates under the same assumptions. That stress is constant. That relief must be immediate. That you are alone in regulating your emotions. That's why you might notice you eat more after emotional interactions. You crave specific foods when stressed. you feel temporary calm after eating, and then guilt follows. Not because you lack control, but because your nervous system is still trying to protect you. But here is where the shift begins. Not by forcing yourself to stop eating, but by understanding what your body is trying to do. Next time you feel that urge to eat, pause for a moment. Not to resist, but to observe. Ask yourself quietly, what am I feeling right now that I don't want to feel? Don't analyze, just notice. Then bring your attention to your body. Take a slow breath in, and make your exhale longer than your inhale. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for safety and calm. Stay with that sensation for a few seconds, see. Then decide. Not from urgency, but from awareness. This is not about stopping behavior immediately. This is about creating space between the trigger and the response. Because that space is where rewiring begins. Research from UCLA's stress and resilience studies shows that repeated regulation of the nervous system can gradually reduce stress reactivity and reshape behavioral patterns. This is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to learn something new. And what your brain needs to learn is this: I am safe, even when I feel. I don't need to escape my emotions to survive them. What you've been calling weakness is actually intelligence. Your body adapted to an environment where emotional safety was missing. It found a way to help you survive. But you are no longer that child. And your system can learn a different way. You don't need to fight your body. You need to understand it. This is the foundation of trauma-informed healing. Not control, but regulation. Not shame, but awareness. Everything I share here is grounded in trauma-informed neuroscience, drawing from research by Harvard Medical School, Stanford University, UCLA, and the National Institute of Mental Health. Because when you understand your nervous system, you stop working against yourself. If this resonates with you, join at Mind Architect, and remember, you were not too emotional. You were not undisciplined. You were adapting. And unconditional self-love begins the moment you stop fighting your coping and start understanding it.